All right, everyone, the faithful moment is here. We are almost at the end of the Joe Biden stewardship and the rise of the Donald Trump presidency. To say I'm excited would be a bit of an understatement. Actually, I'm fucking jovial about this. I get an extra birthday present this year. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal. Now, anything can and does happen, so I expect crazy things to happen at the inauguration. They've moved it indoors, and so there won't be a huge outdoor event, although people are still going to gather. Liberals are coping and seething right now, pretending that the reason for the indoor venue is because there would be a smaller crowd. I'd point out that several other, especially second-term inaugurations, including Ronald Reagan, who was reelected in a landslide, with vast popular majority, were moved inside as well. The inauguration day, of course, falls on one of the coldest days of the year, January 20th. So if the bottom drops out and it's going to be 15 degrees when the inauguration happens, yeah, no shit, the crowd size will probably be a little bit lower. Also, additionally, there are security concerns. 2 people have attempted to kill Donald Trump, technically 3 at this point. There's a security concern, therefore, and also a bunch of leftoids are likely to show up. They'll probably cause trouble. We saw, like in 2016, when Donald Trump is inaugurated, the second that he takes the oath of office, he's officially sworn in. You have pink pussy hat wearers doing the primal scream therapy and stuff like that. And then they proceed to burn Wendy's. At one point, they attacked the White House, injuring a bunch of Secret Service staff, forced it into lockdown mode. And it was funny because the liberal commentators at the time were saying, well, cowardly Donald. And it's like, yeah, well, he's the president of the United States. He's a public official. He doesn't have a choice but to go to the bunker with his family if there's a significant security risk at the time. An actual insurrection. I noticed that it wasn't actually labeled that. I think that was over the Brett Kavanaugh appointment, if I remember correctly. And that was that other time that the liberals broke into the Senate chambers and the senators were all kneeling and stuff. They had like a BLM protest or something like that. And, you know, things went off without a hitch. Nobody had a problem with that. The second that Trump fans, though, were in the Capitol Rotunda taking selfies, it's an insurrection. Obviously, they were trying to start a second civil war. So this is the last full day of Joe Biden's malarkey, which is great. Donald Trump will be inaugurated tomorrow, and it'll presumptively, generally speaking, it'll probably go well. The biggest problem is, of course, there's always the chance that some rabid leftoid or psychopath decides to shoot somebody or burn down a building along Pennsylvania Avenue or something like that. It looks like their security measures have been beefed up considerably, and there's probably a reason for that. They're suspecting the possibility of malarkey. He will be inaugurated. Joe Biden, his presidency, overall will be remembered as unremembered. The liberals don't want to remember the presidency because there's no particular moment within the presidency that they can point to and say, well, this is the president's major legacy. What are you going to do? The Infrastructure Act? You know, the anti-inflation measures supposedly that caused more inflation? Well, that's just a partisan issue. Political scientists might consider that meaningful. The average voter clearly doesn't, considering the election results. And of course, Kamala being former VP, associated directly with the Biden administration, and so tied together, gets crushed in the Electoral College, gets crushed with the popular vote, gets crushed among a number of socioeconomic and ethnic blocs that typically vote far left, and she still manages to get absolutely hammered, to pardon the pun. There's a reason for that. It's because the Biden administration was an unmitigated disaster. It was effectively largely a do-nothing presidency, in which in the 11th hour he's trying to claim the unilateral right to create a constitutional amendment. That's his crowning glory will be getting trolled on Twitter by legal experts. That's basically it. Name something else. I gave him credit for only a few things. I do believe we need to renormalize relations with Cuba. So that is, I mean, it's not his idea. At this point, he can't even choose the color of his socks. So I can't really give him credit for that. His suggestion of weatherizing the electrical grid that never was actually done. So the one great idea that he had, and he actually for a while pushed, never actually happened. So please tell me, what element of his presidency should I be applauding? The fact that he had to be shielded by his own party, his inner circle, from claims of his dementia, which was so self-evident and obvious that largely he was an absentee and didn't even want to talk to the public or to the press? Was it censorship? Plenty of that. Donald Trump right now is going to become the savior of TikTok. Let that sink in for a moment. The Biden administration's like, yeah, fuck him. Let him go away. Hey, it's the next dude's problem, by the way. Joe Biden basically punted that one the other day, now didn't he? Well, he's asked by the press, what do you think about the TikTok ban? Well, that's Trump's problem. The incoming administration will have to deal with that one. Oh boy, oh boy. How else can you possibly express the fact that you are a lame ducker at this point and have absolutely no legitimate power? The fact is that Joe Biden was a steward. He was keeping the throne warm, so to speak. That was his only role. He was never a leader. Even the liberals admit that one of his major flaws was indecisiveness. And this locked up government, even when he had, for a brief moment in time, the votes, a reasonable mandate, because people had soured on Trump, mainly due to lockdowns, and so he comes in office with relatively high approval, actually. What does he do? Well, I'm going to the beach, man. I'm going to go biking and stuff. Well, it doesn't make any sense. You didn't accomplish anything. Your signature legislation just cooked and overheated the economy. That's what you're going to be remembered for, a period of high inflation, major diplomatic crises. The Afghan withdrawal comes to mind, Ukraine comes to mind, and basically just being a caretaker, keeping the seat warm for the dude who you supposedly won against, although again, look at the voting totals, put two and two together, and now is back in office because you and your cohorts and your underlings did such a poor job. So I can't wait to see tomorrow. I can't wait to see Joe Biden go. I've continued around the sun for another time. I get a year older, and it's like, damn, I'm headed on towards my late 30s. Well, shit. I guess I'm getting, as George Carlin would say, I guess I'm getting older. That sounds a little bit better. It might even take a little bit longer. I don't consider 30s old. I mean, not elderly till you're like 75 or something, so don't worry about it too much. But I get to celebrate by watching Trump get inaugurated on my birthday. Every 4 years, I either get a really good birthday or a really shitty one. Like, 2020, that wasn't necessarily, the greatest time, but this time around, it's going to be quite fun. I can't wait. It's going to be great. It's Inauguration Day tomorrow, and I can't wait to see it. I'm just hoping that no crazy shit happens. I mean, I'm hoping for Trump to do crazy shit. He's going to have his garbage truck paraded down Pennsylvania Avenue. Please, Donald, be wielding a bag of French fries and munching on it while you're walking down Pennsylvania Avenue. Or something to that effect. Please do something zany. It'll make my day. That's about all. Peace out.